Good evening and welcome to the best game in Northern California. Tonight, the Serra Padres travel to Los Altos Hills at Foothill College as they take on the team that is the home team, the Archbishop Mitty Monarchs. You can't ask for a much better matchup than this one, as these two teams are both off to 3-0 starts. No matter what rankings you look at, these are among the very best, not only in the Bay Area, but in Northern California as well. Speaking of rankings, in our Bay Preps, our Bay Area poll, Serra's ranked 4th, Mitty is 5th. In Mitch Stevens' poll on the Chronicle, as these teams are also both in the top 10. The Mercury News, Serra is number 1, Mitty is number 2. In the NorCal poll, Serra is number 6, Mitty is number 8. In Prep Feed CCS rankings, Serra's number 1, Mitty is number 4. And in the Division I North Bowl rankings from Cal High Sports, Serra is number 8 and Mitty is number 9. So no matter what poll you look at, these teams highly ranked, and they're off to fantastic starts. The Archbishop Mitty Monarchs have played the tougher schedule through 3 games. A very good opening win against Los Gatos, 28-20. They then took care of Leland, 34-7, and then won by a point against Palo Alto, 28-27. Serra won by a point in their most recent game, as the Padres were a winner over Buhack Colony, 36-35. The game-winning touchdown and 2-point conversion, the gutsy call with 14 seconds left to give Serra the win there. Before that, they had easy wins against Wilcox, 30-6, and beat Encinal by the final of 56-7. I am Pat O'Rourke, your broadcaster for tonight. The producer and cameraman is Jerry Gerard. We're excited for this matchup. We don't have the greatest internet connection through our Verizon Jetpack, so please bear with us if you're having a little bit of difficulty with the broadcast. Normally we'd like a stronger internet signal to send this one out, but great matchup tonight, Serra and Mitty, two very highly ranked teams. All right, we're going to get ready for the kickoff here, and kicking off for Serra is Anthony Toms. They are fortunate enough to have a very good kicker, and of course that Serra has to be aware of Dakari Monroe, who has already returned 2 kickoffs for touchdowns. Monroe is not going to get a chance here, though, but they do have the very fast Kyle Evans returning kicks, and he takes a pass to 20 and is grabbed down by the shirt before he could get to the 30-yard line, and we'll see the Mitty offense to start this one off. A lot of speed on this Archbishop Mitty team. Their quarterback is Wyatt Hansen. He took over for Andrew Barna, not an easy guy to replace. Andrew Barna from last season, such an outstanding year for Mitty, but Hansen's done a great job through 3 games. He has thrown for 472 yards and ran for 114. Yes, he is a dual threat. This Mitty offense is a very balanced one. So Hansen at quarterback. In the empty set backfield, he's got 3 receivers to his right and 2 to his left, and we are their first offensive play, and he's looking for the home run right off the bat. Hangs it up in the air, and it is going to be caught inside the Serra 45-yard line. Kyle Evans streaking down the far side to make that reception that goes 30 yards. So a great start for the Monarchs and a very aggressive call to start this game. We are at Foothill College on baypreps.com. 3 receivers now at the bottom of your screen. 1 goes in motion. That is Chandler Ramirez, who is a very good back that has ran for 244 yards through 3 games. Hansen behind center, runs an option, and going the other way was Ramirez, and fortunately for Mitty, Hansen goes back to fall on that football. Boy, that was an odd sequence. You don't see that very often. Ramirez was thinking the option was running left, and Hansen had it running right, and Hansen pitched the ball to air, and he alertly went back to fall on that football. But it's a big loss in the play of 12 yards. So they get the 30-yard gain to Evans and then the 12-yard loss. And it's 2nd down and 22, and they have it back on their half of midfield. Man goes in motion. Hansen, though, wants to throw. He's got a lot of time here, and he throws it, and it's intercepted. Picked off by the Padres. Our first turnover of the game comes a minute 31 seconds into the contest. And it's Malachi Green coming up with the interception. So the errant pass from Hansen, who had plenty of time there, and we have our first turnover. On the 3rd offensive play of this game. So Serra takes over with 10:29 to go. And they have it. Good field position at their own 45. Zach Kazakov is the Padres quarterback, who, of course, loved to keep it on the ground. Such a good ground game over the years under head coach Patrick Walsh. And Eric Redwood, the star of that win over Buhack last week, gets about 3. Redwood, 353 rushing yards on the season on 52 carries, 7 touchdowns, 4 of them in that game against Buhack, including the touchdown and 2-point conversion that gave Serra the win. That's one thing about this game. They have about 8 days of rest coming in this game because that was a Thursday night last week, but Mitty's had a couple weeks off since their win against Palo Alto. 2nd down and 7 yards to go after that 3-yard gain. Here's the pitch. Running left is Hamilton Anoa'i, and Anoa'i looks like he's got the first down as he fights for extra yards, and he gets right near that marker.
Number 11, Hamilton
Anoa'i, 6'2", 210-pound junior. 35 rushing yards on the year coming into this game. He gets the Serra first down. And that will move the chains for the Padres. Last year, CCS Division I champions, their first CCS title since 1992. 11-2 season, 11 wins, the most in Padres history. Handoff goes to the man running to this near side, and getting brought down was Angelo Arco. He gets just a couple. So Ramirez makes the stop for Mitty. But yeah, great season last year. Not only the most wins in school history, but the most points in Serra Padre history, yards, rushing yards, as they won that first title in 19 years. And it just gives you an idea what kind of season it was for Serra. 4,572 rushing yards last year. They shattered the school record. This is obviously a team that has a rich football tradition. As the pass goes to the far side, catching the flat is Anoa'i, and Anoa'i puts his head down. These Padre players and Mitty players as well aren't afraid of contact. And Anoa'i gets about 6 on the first pass of the game. That was nearly a lateral from Kazakov, who takes over for Joey Erdy at the quarterback position. These teams, both these programs, just reload. Great programs. Matt Haniger, head coach at Mitty's. Patrick Walsh at Serra. Here's the pitch to Redwood on 3rd and 2. He's got the first down as he takes it between the tackles and gets stopped just shy of the 30-yard line. About 6 for Redwood on his 2nd carry of the game. Last year, Mitty won at Serra. Great game, 35-28. Andrew Barna completed his first 9 attempts of that game, and then it was Daniel Moscow on a 4th and 1 from their own 29-yard line with 1:17 left. Moscow ran 71 yards for the touchdown, and that was the difference. 35-28, Mitty won. Serra hasn't beaten the Monarchs since 2008. Here's Redwood on that fly sweep, getting the handoff over the left side, and Redwood gets good yardage on first down. He got, I was going to say 5, but maybe 4 on his 3rd carry of the game. Redwood had a big season a year ago. 1,344 yards on 208 carries, 6.5 average. He also scored 12 touchdowns, and he wasn't even the feature back. When you have your second running back gaining 1,300 yards, it's probably a pretty good season. Eric Wilson, of course, was that feature back, who's now at the University of Washington, who, of course, came up with a big win last night against Stanford. 7.5 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Padres in their first possession. Here's Kazakov on the option. And on 2nd and 6, he gets about 2 or 3. And another 3rd down coming up for Serra. So 3rd down, and we'll call it a long 2 on the Kazakov 4-yard carry. They need to get inside the Mitty 21 for a first. Redwood looking for his holes. He's got it, and he takes it inside the 20-yard line. Redwood's got some great speed, but he is a veteran running back, is the 5'8", 180-pound senior. And when I say veteran running back, I mean he's perfectly aware of where to find those holes. 19 yards for Redwood. Doesn't get the carry here. Instead, they go up the middle and a huge hole inside the 10-yard line, and it's going to be 1st and goal on the big carry for Fia Malapai. First carry of the game for Malapai.
the ball carrier.
So first and goal after that run that netted 10.
10-yard gain, first and
Good
10.
possession here for the Padres. Keep it on the ground. And they take it inside the 5-yard line.
28, Kevin McGee, the ball carrier.
McGee with his first carry of the game.
Gain of 4.
And he gets 4. So 5, actually 6 different ball carriers for Serra when you count the quarterback, Kazakov. They start at their own 45 after the interception, and they are knocking on the door. This is the 11th play of the drive. It is second and goal. Here's the pitch. Cross the end zone. That is a Serra touchdown. Padres get off to the early lead.
3-yard touchdown run.
6-0 Serra with 5:50 to go in the opening quarter. They converted a few third downs. They marched down the field.
Number 4, Anthony Don. Tom's for the PAT.
So Tom's on to kick the extra point. The Padres are off to the early start. And the kick is good, and Serra leads it 7-0. We'll take a break on the audio side. 5:50 to go in the opening quarter. Padres up 7-zip. So Eric Redwood with the touchdown run for Serra. 5 carries, 22 yards on that opening drive for Redwood. His 8th touchdown of the season. And a great possession, a great start for the Padres, who capitalized on the interception. 11 plays, 45 yards. The Redwood 3-yard touchdown run. And they also, like in typical Padre fashion, ate up 4 minutes and 39 seconds of clock. So here's the ensuing kickoff. Making some nice move, takes it past the 30-yard line and then stopped before he could get to the 35. Good carry by, or good return by Monroe. We told you, so dangerous. A couple of kickoff returns for touchdowns already in the first 3 games of this season. And he gets Mitty good field position at their own 34-yard line. Remember, Mitty had the nice home run play to start this game, the 30-yard pass play down the far side to Kyle Evans, but then they had the bad pitch on the optional, and when the quarterback and running back went separate ways, and then the interception after that play. So let's see what the Monarchs do here, down 7-0. They were down early in that game against Palo Alto as the pitch goes to the outside, and looking for room is Evans, but he does not have much as the white shirts collapse and bring him down after only a yard. Evans, 124 rushing yards on the season coming into this game on 20 carries. He does have a couple of Mitty touchdowns. Mitty has been behind before. In fact, their most recent game, the 28-27 win against Palo Alto, they're down 14-7 in the second quarter of that game. Ball in the near hash. Second down and 9. Here's what's going to be a lateral as they throw it to Evans. He's got a lot of open space, and Evans tackled the touchdown saving tackle just across midfield. Kavamaka, the safety, making that stop, or else that is a big, big gain.
16-yard gain. And a Monarch first.
Nonetheless, it ends up 16 yards. We're going to call that a rushing play. We'll see if they do in the regular stats afterwards, but that definitely looked to be a lateral to Evans. First down and 10 from the Serra 49. Mitty students back into this thing. 4:34 to go in the opening quarter. Great matchup tonight from Foothill College in Los Altos Hills. The option, the pitch to Evans. Evans cuts it back, gets good yardage inside the Serra 45-yard line.
Tackled by 33, Peter below 2.
For Serra defensively, the defensive line, Matt Dickerson, Brendan Nassau, Daniel Avulo. The outside linebackers, Tyson Terreros, Matt Jacobs. You got Fia Malapai, Peter Tuipulotu, Malachi Green. And that linebacking corners are Vince Camp and Justin Reyes. Kavamaka is the free safety. 2nd down and 4 yards to go. This is Dakari Monroe, and they do not let Monroe go far. Nice tackle wrapping up by Brendan Hassau, the 5'8", 235-pound senior nose. Monroe, just a sophomore for Mitty, and we have already seen, obviously, playmaking ability from the 5'11", 165-pounder. He hasn't had too much in the run game, although it's very early on. 23 yards rushing on the season for Monroe. Hansen looking to throw, has a little bit of a pocket, throws on the near side. It is complete, and that's going to be enough for a 1st down. They're going to get a late hit as well. It's making the reception was Daniel Moscow.
Hansen's pass complete to Moscow. There is a flag on the play.
You have to think this is going to be a personal foul penalty against Serra.
A personal foul against the Padres.
So that is going to give Mitty an extra 15 yards. That is our first penalty of this game with 3 minutes to go in the opening quarter in this West Catholic League opener. Such a tough league, and you really put yourself behind the 8 ball with a loss in that opening game. And unless we have a tie like we did in this matchup 2 years ago, the last time these teams played here, one of these teams is going to be 0-1.
Monarch 1st down, 1st and 10 at the Padre 22.
And when is a 6-yard reception to Moscow, tack on the 15 yards, and it's 1st and 10 from the 22 as Hansen wants to throw again. Far side, throws it up, and they go up and get it inside the 5-yard line.
Hansen's pass complete to number 7.
That was Andrew Scott.
18-yard gain to the 4-yard line.
6'4", 185-pound senior went up and got it.
Goal at the Serra 4.
Hansen already 54 yards passing. 2:48 and counting to go in the opening quarter. Pat O'Rourke with you here on BayPreps.com. Mitty looking for the equalizer. The handoff to Moscow, tries to make a cut, and he's going to be stopped shy of the goal line.
Moscow's ball carrier.
First time we see Moscow carry the football in this game.
Below 2.
Told you that big touchdown run to 71 yards out last year with 1:17 to go. That was the difference. 2 yards there for Moscow. Second and goal, calling it the 2. Mitty on their second possession. This is Hansen taking it up the middle himself. No signal from the official yet. Mitty players think he's in. There's the touchdown signal, and the Monarchs are within 1. A 2-yard touchdown sneak for Wyatt Hansen. The Mitty quarterback with his second touchdown rush of the season. And a very impressive answering drive from Mitty.
21 Rice for the PAT.
An 8-play drive that went 66 yards. And now looking for the tying extra point. And Daniel Rice kicks it through, and we are all even at 7. Wyatt Hansen, the 2-yard touchdown run. 1:50 to go in the opening quarter. You're watching high school football on BayPreps.com. 8-play drive, went 66 yards. Wyatt Hansen caps it off with a 2-yard touchdown rush. The extra point makes it 7-7 with 1:50 to go. We've seen some points scored the last time. 2 times these teams have met. A 40-40 tie when they played here at Foothill College 2 years ago. And last year, the 35-28 Mitty win. And this kickoff angled over towards the sideline, returned from inside the 20. Good move down that far sideline, an opening inside the 50. This is going to go the distance for the Padres, and they are going to go right back in front, 13-7.
Touchdown, Serra. Number 21, Angelo.
That was Angelo Arco on the kickoff return. He caught it near that sideline. He kind of cut towards the middle a little bit and then just broke it back towards the sideline. And he got a seal and then a big wall, and there was no chance Mitty was going to touch him. 13-7 Padres on that kickoff return. It was Mitty that had 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns in their first 3 games, and the Padres, who have a very good special teams unit of their own. Now looking to make it a 7-point game, it is Tom's. And it is good. 14-7 Serra. 1:36 to go in the first quarter. Mitty's going to get their 3rd possession of this first quarter. Serra offense was just 1 possession because of that kickoff return for the touchdown. Angelo Arco on that return. 5'9", 165-pound senior.
Join Robert Bronstein and Marissa Lavas for the best of high school sports from around the Bay Each week. You can also check out their website.
Mitty answered the Serra touchdown on their last possession. Now they'll try to answer again as their offense will step right back on the field unless they can get a big play in the return game. Mitty not only has those 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns, they also had another big return in the win against Palo Alto. And it really helped them in that game. You win by a point, but they were outgained in that game by 250 yards. Palo Alto had 487 yards, and Mitty had 237. So you make those plays in the special units, and it can really have a major impact. And Serra, special teams, off to a good start in this one. Ensuing kickoff by Toms. He's going to line drive it, and it's going to be returned by one of the up men inside the 20-yard line. He runs straight ahead past the 30. And we'll see that Wyatt Hansen and Monarch offense once again.
Out to his own 31-yard line.
They'll mark it at the 31 with 1:28 to play in the quarter. Serra scored first. The 3-yard touchdown run by Eric Redwood, capping an 11-play, 45-yard drive after a Mitty interception gave Serra a 7-0 lead. Monarchs won an 8-play, 66-yard drive to tie the game at 7, and then that kickoff return by Arco puts Serra back in front. Here's a pass on the far sideline. Big hit out of bounds, but not before the Monarchs get the first down.
Hansen's pass complete to Jacob Wesson.
So Wesson on the reception, who had 134 yards receiving on the night coming into this game. He picks up 13. And Hansen has completed all of his passes, 4 to his team. 4 of 5 with that interception, but not just 4 of 5, 67 yards. They're getting good yardage on those receptions. He lines up, he's out of the gun with 1:20 to go in the opening quarter. And he has trouble with the snap, and now he's just going to have to fall on top of it. So another broken play for Mitty. Remember, they had that option play where the quarterback and running back were not on the same page. And now this snap, the Hansen had trouble if he wanted to catch it after initially bobbling it. That was a little bit high. And then he made the smart play by just falling on that football. So Hansen's got a touchdown rushing, but he has negative 16 yards rushing in the night because of those big losses. We're inside a minute to go in the opening quarter. 3rd possession for the Monarchs. 3 receivers set to the bottom. Hansen rushed. He's going to run. And again, these players, we told you before, not afraid of contact. Hansen trying to turn that one upfield. He does get a few yards.
Gain of 4.
Goes as a 4-yard gain.
3rd down and 12.
And this next play might be the final play of the quarter. Clock is ticking with 20 seconds to go in the quarter. 3rd down and 12 coming up for Mitty. The best game in Northern California. NorCal Preps called it their game of the week. Mitch Stevens, the Chronicle, and Max Preps talking this game could already have conference title implications. We're in the opener. Of course, there's a lot of very good teams in the WCAL year in and year out. And here is Hansen getting dropped down for the sack. Via Malapai. Malapai brings him down for a big loss of 11 yards. And that is the end of the quarter. The Padres are off to an outstanding start. Serra leads 14-7. You're watching West Catholic League opener. This is high school football on BayPreps.com. Call Michael Mowry, your home loan purchase and loan finance expert at 925-967-3055. Let Michael Mowry at CNA Equity be your bridge to your most profitable equity partners. Michael Mowry at CNA Equity. After 1 quarter of play, it is 14-7. Padres in front. Big kickoff return for a touchdown from Angelo Arco. We're calling that one 83 yards, but we might have to check on that to get an official yardage on that kickoff return when we check in at halftime. Thanks to everyone from Archbishop Mitty, including JT Hanley, for making us feel at home, and Monica Marcuson and Will Scherenberg taking care of us here at Foothill College at Los Altos Hills.
As the second quarter begins, it is 4th down and 23.
This Padre offense, they've only had one possession. And it was an 11-play, 55-yard drive. I might have said 45 before, but 11-play, 55 yards. Eric Redwood scoring the touchdown, his 8th of the year, and we get whistles before the snap. Coach Walsh of Serra is 6-4-1 in his career against Archbishop Mitty. Matt Haniger, who's in his 6th season at the helm of the Monarchs, is 2-2-1 against the Padres. Has not lost to him since 2008. So we're still waiting to start this second quarter as the penalty moves the Monarchs back. Technically, it's 4th down and 28, but we can tell you that Mitty's not going for it. No fake here as the punt is away. Good punt, and the fair catch is called and caught at the 30-yard line by Aesop Winston. So 11:52 to go in the first half. And Serra will start at their own 31. Pat O'Rourke with you. Jerry Gerard is the cameraman and producer. A 2-man crew here on BayPreps.com. And Serra has the football. They ran the ball 10 of 11 plays in the opening drive. No surprise if you're a fan of the Padres. One of the best rushing offenses around. As Redwood gets the carry, he makes a couple of nice moves, gets to the Mitty secondary and takes it up to the 45-yard line. Best carry of the night for Redwood, who's already up to 36 yards on 6 carries.
14-yard gain and Padre first down. First and 10, Serra.
Eric Redwood, said before about him, but it's so true in terms of 5'8", 180 pounds. He doesn't run like a guy like that. He's not afraid of putting his head down and getting yards after contact And here is getting sacked, brought down on that option play actually for the loss as Jason Sutton, the senior, brings down Kozakov for a loss. Serra trying to run a little option there, and Kozakov loses 3. Sutton was quoted in the Mercury News saying it doesn't matter where the rankings are. It's going to be a big game no matter what. It's our first league game this season. It's Serra. That's always tough competition, always a fun game to play. Certainly has been these last couple years in terms of close games between these two programs. We're expecting another one tonight. 2nd down and 13, 10:50 to go in the first half. Kozakov looking to throw, rush from behind, and his pass incomplete. And again, that was Sutton applying the pressure, forcing the incompletion. Kozakov on the season coming into this game, 19 of 35, 283 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Padres throwing the ball a little bit more this year than they did a year ago. They were such a run-heavy team last year, and they're run-heavy this year, but not quite as much. They'll employ multiple rushers in their offense. In fact, in a couple of games this year, in their first 2 games against Wilcox and Encinal, and of course some of this was because of the lopsided results, but they had 13 different ball carriers in each one of those games. They've had 6 different ball carriers tonight. 3rd down and 13. See if they keep it on the ground here on 3rd and long. They are. As the pitch goes the outside of Anoa'i. Anoa'i is going to struggle to get back to the original line of scrimmage. Looks like he's going to come up just shy. Anoa'i gets 3 yards. But a flag is down.
3-yard gain if he stands.
If it's against Serra, Mitty will probably decline it and force the Padres to punt. It is holding. And Mitty is going to decline the penalty. 2 very respected coaching staffs. And not just the head coaches, Walsh and Hanniger, who we've talked about, but the entire staffs. In fact, Coach Walsh in our pregame interview, and we interview coaches week in and week out on BayPreps.com. You can listen to those interviews. In fact, maybe when there's a break during halftime, if you didn't get a chance to hear Coach Walsh or Coach Hanniger's interview, you can listen to those on BayPreps.com. But Coach Walsh, he was a college teammate of Mitty's defensive coordinator, Coach Malai. Here is the punt. And it's going to go about 35 yards without a return. So Mitty will start at their own 20, their 4th possession, and their worst field position, with 10:13 to go in the 2nd quarter. Mitty trying to clean some things up here. They've had a couple of big losses in this game. This is a very good Serra defense. They'll be fooled by that 35 points they allowed to a very good running offense in Buhack Colony last week. Hansen rushed again, escapes the rush. He has some great escapability as he displays there, and he gets positive yards out of it. About 4 on the play for the Mitty quarterback.
4-yard gain to the 24-yard.
It was a very close competition last year between Hansen and Andrew Barna. And Barna just getting the edge in that competition. You saw what kind of season Barna had last year. So it gives you an idea of how good Hansen is. A guy that was a junior last year and just got beat out in that competition. He played corner and played great at corner for Mitty last year. On 2nd down and 6, he puts his hat down and gets dropped down by a couple of Padre players. Peter Tuipulotu with a stop there after maybe a couple. 3rd down and 4 for the Monarchs. Jerry Gerard, the cameraman and producer. I am Pat O'Rourke. Beautiful night in Los Altos Hills at Foothill College. Hansen has some time, then he gets hit as he throws. It's caught, luckily by one of his own players, Robert O'Leary. And it's going to be a loss, but Mitty will be fortunate to hold on to the football. They nearly had their 2nd turnover.
4th down and 6 after Monarch 24.
So O'Leary, the 2-yard loss, and Mitty will punt for the second time. Moscow and McAndrews are the punters for the Monarchs. And this is McAndrews, Mark McAndrews, 5'11", 185-pound junior. And this is a returnable one for Serra. This is Nick Maka trying to look for space on the far side of the field. Now he cuts it back left, and he'll be brought down on Mitty's half of the field.
Number 7.
And it'll be great field position for Serra. Already up by a touchdown with 8:27 to go in the first half. So now Mitty looking for a big stop from their defense.
Serra 1st and 10 after Monarch 40.
Padres scored on their first possession. Their other touchdown came on the kick return. That's the difference. Angelo Arco, kick return for a touchdown with 1:36 to go in the opening quarter. A little bit of confusion over on the Padres sideline about this play. Now that double wing set. The pitch goes to Redwood. He's got running room. Escapes a man inside the 30, down the near sideline to 20, and is forced out near the 10.
Redwood, the ball carrier.
So Eric Redwood
Evans saved
with
the
his
touchdown.
biggest carry of this
There is a flag on the play.
game. There is a flag, and that was
38 yards
about
line of
20,
stands.
25 yards downfield when that flag was thrown. And they're going to wipe it out.
The flag has been picked up. The play stands.
So there's not a penalty.
Gain to the Monarch 8-yard line. 1st and goal.
38 yards on that gain for Redwood. He's now up to 74 yards on 7 carries. He has a Padre touchdown as well. He knows how to find the end zone. And a flag, we have a whistle before the play developed. It was going to be a handoff to Anoa'i, but we have a timeout called by the Monarch bench with 8:14 to go in the first half. And Serra leading Mitty 14-7, knocking on the door of a 1st and goal from the 8-yard line. Rocco's Ristorante Pizzeria, the place to go after the game, open late. Full bar, longtime supporter of high school sports in the corner of Oak Grove and Ignacio in Walnut Creek. That's Rocco's Ristorante Pizzeria. We know you're from Serra or Mitty or San Mateo or San Jose area, but doesn't mean you don't ever go to Walnut Creek. And if you do, make sure to go to Rocco's. You won't be disappointed. It's been voted the best food in the East Bay, best restaurant, and there's a reason for it. Rocco's Ristorante Pizzeria. Again, that's in the corner of Oak Grove and Ignacio. So Mitty talks things over with their defense here. As Serra's done a good job in the ground game. This is their 3rd possession. And they're looking for that 2nd offensive touchdown. Both teams battle-tested coming into this game. They've both played tough non-league schedules. Mitty tougher than Serra. Serra, though, they didn't know Encinal was going to be down this year. Wilcox is a good team that they beat by 24. Encinal was a little down this year. They're playing Alameda tonight in the Island Bowl. Here's Kozakov on play action, stepping up, and he's going to be hit from behind and brought down. He had a number of black shirts chasing him. Amundo's in on the stop was Robert O'Leary, and Kozakov goes down for a loss.
Kazakov sacked on the play. by
Kozakov
Sutton and O'Leary.
loses
Loss of a couple. Just
Loses
outside the
2.
10-yard line. 2nd and goal.
So it's 2nd and goal from the 10. Redwood lined up to the right. The pitch, though, goes to Faiita. And Faiita gets past the original line of scrimmage up to about the 7.
Number 18, Matt Faida, the ball carrier.
Faita, 5'10", 180-pound junior. His first carry of the game. 7th different player to run the ball for Serra. He gets 3. 3rd and goal from the 7. Up the box. Padres get just a few, bringing up a 4th and goal from about the 4. Anoa'i with his 2nd carry. So let's see what Serra does here. They do have a good kicker in Toms. Of course, they're not afraid to go for it. We saw it last week in terms of going for 2. Of course, that was a little closer than where it's at right now. 4th and goal from the 3. Actually, 4th and goal from the 4 is what I meant. And we're going to get a timeout called by the Padres. They're going to talk this one over with 6:09 to go in the first half, up by a touchdown. A 4th and goal from the 4-yard line as they try to make this a 2-touchdown game. We were talking with Coach Walsh in that interview I mentioned before about how both coaches aren't afraid to take chances, and obviously that's what good coaches do when the time calls for it. And how this game, being that it's expected to be a close game, and it's been a close game the last couple of years, could come down to these chances from these head coaches, these opportunities you go for or not. Coach Walsh, who is, like I said, not afraid, and many of good gambles, did lament a couple of calls he had last year, a fake punt call that went awry in last year's game, and also a 4th and 3 that they didn't get. And Mitty converted that big 4th and 1. But there's a reason why Patrick Walsh is the 2nd winningest coach in Serra history. 81 wins, 46 losses, and the one tie against Mitty 2 years ago. He needs 22 wins to become Serra's all-time winningest coach. And he's going for it here on 4th and goal from the 4. Kazakov maybe changing things up here as he gets a look at the Mitty defense. Maybe they're just trying to draw Mitty off sides. Looks like that was what they were doing, but they couldn't do it. And Serra uses up their 2nd timeout. So you have to think now they'll call Toms on the field for the field goal try. He had 5 field goals a year ago. And he's got 1 field goal this year to go along with his 15 extra points. And this one would be a chip shot. Of course, in high school football, necessarily, there aren't really many chip shots, but this one would be about 21, 22 yards. Of course, there's still a chance they could still go for it. But they are going to kick it here. So Anthony Toms, 5'11", 185-pound senior. His brother kicked the tying field goal in the game 2 years ago, that game that ended up in a 40-all tie. Here's the hold, the kick. It is good, and the Padres are up 17-7. So 6:04 to go in the first half, and Serra has a 10-point lead. We'll call it a 22-yard field goal for Toms. Remember, Serra will get the ball first to start the second half. Puts a little bit extra pressure on Mitty here, although there's obviously plenty of time left. I'm just saying it's not an ideal spot to be, the way the Padres run the ball and like to control the time of possession, to be down by 10 when they get the ball to start the second half. Serra's special teams units playing very well. They have contained the Mitty kick return game, and they also got a kick return touchdown of their own and that field goal. So it's 17-7 with 6:04 to go. And he's going to squib kick this one. And Mitty will just fall on it to preserve the possession inside the 25-yard line, and that will work for the Padres. Tyler Young falling on it there for Mitty. Mitty's offense had that good drive on their second possession, but
Monarchs following the kickoff at their own 25-yard
have been held without a first down on their 3 other possessions. They start at their own 25. Hansen. He's going to give the handoff. Some blocks in front of Kyle Evans. He's got plenty of running room, and that's actually Moscow down the near sideline. He's going to go the distance. Daniel Moscow, the touchdown run. No flags on the field. 75 yards for Moscow. Set up beautifully by the Monarchs. Followed his blocks down this near side, his second carry this game, and this one a 75-yard touchdown run, and Mitty is within 4. Moscow, the deciding touchdown in last year's game. That went 71 yards. That was over the other side. This one to the right. And the big play. Monarchs were looking for. This is a big play team, and they get the extra point to make it 17-14. 75-yard touchdown run for Daniel Moscow. And with 5:50 to go in the second quarter, they are within 3. Great battle tonight. This one, you just got the feeling it's going to have a great finish. Each team now has a big play for a touchdown. Serra, the kick return for a score, and there the 75-yard run for Moscow. Moscow came into this game with not too many carries. 11 carries, 27 yards, and a touchdown coming into this game. But the 75-yard score there. And it gets the excellent Mitty band playing here. They did a great job with our national anthem at the outset. And here is a short line drive kick, return from the 16-yard line, past the 20, breaking an ankle tackle and taking it past the 30-yard line. Somebody lost a helmet. Arco, who had that big return for a touchdown, this time takes it up to the 30.
11-yard return.
And this is Serra's worst field position of the evening.
5:44 to go in the half.
Serra's controlled the clock in this one. And they'll keep it on the ground and get close to a first down as Redwood gets the carry. That last drive for Mitty, well, shouldn't call it a drive, but one play, 75 yards, took 14 seconds. Redwood does get the first down, and Redwood's already up to 84 yards on 8 carries for the Padres. Serra would love that time-consuming drive before halftime.
1st and 10, Serra at their own 41.
From the 41. Kazakov fakes the pitch, wants to throw. He's got a man downfield, but overshot him. Good coverage down there, though, for Mitty's Jacob Wesson.
Zach Kazakov's pass incomplete
Wesson, a returning all-league player.
Wesson on the coverage.
Kazakov, 1 of 3 for 6 yards. Serra team was picked by Mitch Stevens of the Chronicle and Max Preps to win the West Catholic League. There's anyone in a number of teams who certainly can win it. I could name names, but then I'm going to leave some teams out that think they're very deserving. As Redwood has trouble escaping from the excellent arm tackle of Chris Freed. But really, when you look at the job done in non-conference play for a lot of these WCAL teams, Valley Christian's coming off 2 very impressive wins. SI is a team that many think will compete. They're coming off a CCS Division III title. And of course, you can't forget Bellarmine, the team that went undefeated through league last year and the highest ranked in our poll. At number 3, they're playing Reardon tonight. Kazakov on 3rd and 11. He's going to get brought down. That was Eric Sargis coming in. Looked like untouched from the blind side. Loss of 7 on the play. 4 minutes to go in the first half, and now the Monarchs are going to get the ball back here after this punt, and they'll have a chance to take the lead. They were down by 10 moments ago. A little bit of a low snap, but Toms has plenty of time. Mitty's going to let this one bounce. It does take a Monarch bounce, and Serra will stop it at the 37. So plenty of time for Mitty. Of course, the big playability they have shown early in the season, 15 seconds might be plenty of time. But right now they've got 3:38 on the clock at their own 37. This is their best field position. Hansen's got back set to each side. He's going to put Monroe in motion. It's a bad snap. The ball is loose.
A loose snap on the play.
And Mitty was able to get it back. Monarchs got to clean up some of those mistakes.
Monarchs got it back at their own 35-yard line.
A loss of 2 yards.
2nd and 12.
Mitty's just had too many negative plays. 2nd down and 12. 3:07 and counting to go in the second quarter. Jerry Gerard, the producer and cameraman. I'm Pat O'Rourke. Great night for football at Los Altos Hills at Foothill College. Hansen's going to run the option to this side. And he'll get knocked out of bounds past the 40-yard line. He'll make it a 3rd and about 5.
Hansen on the keeper. Tackled by 32, Matt Bowler. Gain of 7. 3rd down and 5.
So 3rd and 5 for Hansen and the Monarchs. 2:48 to go. 4 receivers set. O'Leary lines up in the backfield. The pass from middle, caught by Evans. Ball a little bit behind him, but he makes a nice reception, turns it upfield, escapes 1 tackle, and brought down at the Padres 25.
Hansen's pass complete to Evans.
33 yards for Evans. He's got 2 catches now for 63 yards. And he's got the Monarchs down to the Padre 25. Nicely done by Kyle Evans. 5'7", 170-pound junior. Coach Hanniger says he doesn't have to worry too much about Evans when we asked him earlier this season. Guy that comes in, does his work, and pays off there. That ball was a little bit behind him, made the nice catch, and then had the yards after the catch to make it a very nice gain. Running a little option. Here's the pitch to Moscow again. This time, Moscow will be stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Clock will continue to run. It's going to go inside 2 minutes here. If you're just joining us, Serra took the early lead. 3-yard touchdown run by Eric Redwood, an 11-play, 55-yard drive with 5:50 to go in the first quarter. They led 7-0. Wyatt Hansen and Mitty answer with an 8-play, 66-yard drive to make it 7-7. On the ensuing kickoff, Angelo Arco returned it for a score to make it 14-7 Padres after 1 quarter. The field goal by Toms made it 17-7, but then Daniel Moscow a 75-yard touchdown run to make it 17-14 after a Serra punt. Mitty's got the ball again. It's the pass to Evans in the flat, makes another nice move, and he gets close to a Monarch first down. Very close to a lateral there. We'll see Mitty do that a couple times in those quick passes out of the backfield, and that does look like an actual forward pass for Evans, who already has 3 receptions. That one goes for 9 yards. 107 yards passing for Hansen, whose only incompletion was an interception. He is 7 of 8 for 107 yards. Inside a minute to go. Monarchs do have a couple of timeouts. On 3rd and 1, they get the first down, and that will temporarily stop the clock with 50 seconds to go.
Gain of 2 yards to the 14-yard line, and a Monarch first down. First 10, Archbishop Mitty.
Clock running, 40 seconds to go. Mitty huddling up here. They do have a couple timeouts. Hansen looking for the end zone. Monroe, though, wasn't looking back. I think he stumbled on that route, and he wasn't looking back for the ball. It was a very well-thrown ball by Hansen. And that's his first incompletion since that interception early. So that does stop the clock with 25 seconds to go. It's 2nd down and 10 from the Serra 14. Two receivers on each side. Evans in the slot on this near side. Man goes in motion. Hansen looking to throw towards the near side of the field. Pass is caught by Moscow. He takes a big hit. With 19 seconds, he is brought down. And Mitty's going to use up a timeout to stop the clock with 16.8 to go. So Moscow with his 2nd reception. And this one goes for 7.
Down to the 7-yard line. When play resumes, it will be 3rd
So
down.
Mitty's got a timeout left. 16.8 seconds and a 3rd down and 3.
Second of the half, full team.
Trailing 17-14. Monarchs do not have a field goal on the young season. And we'll see if this is 4-down territory. Of course, we won't if they can get the first down or the touchdown here. This is a big shot in the arm, that run by Moscow to make it 17-14, a 75-yard touchdown run. Mitty's defense keeping that momentum on their favor with the 3-and-out of Serra. Quickly get the ball back. They started at their own 37 and now at the Padres 7. This is the 8th play of this possession, which started with 3:38 to go.
It'll be 3rd down and 3 at the Serra 7-yard line.
So 3rd down and 3. They keep it on the ground, and they're not going to get it. Great job by Serra and Fia Malapei
O'Leary, the ball carrier.
as O'Leary had nowhere to go. Malapei wasn't going to let him go. And with 2.9 seconds left, the timeout is called.
This is the Padres' final timeout.
And Serra calls the timeout. I was thinking it would be Mitty calling the timeout. With fourth down coming up here and only well, they want to add some time back on the clock. Right now it shows 2.9 seconds. I think the official's going to add a few seconds to the clock.
The last play resulted in the loss of a yard. When play resumes, it'll be fourth down and 4.
So 4th and 4, but really with only time for one play. 4.5 seconds left, and we'll see if Mitty goes for a field goal. It would be about 25 yards.
Timeouts remaining in the half. Archbishop Mitty with 1, Serra with 9.
Like I said before, Serra would get the ball first to start the second half. So 4.5 seconds to go. The Monarchs looking for 6, trying to take a lead into halftime. Technically it's 4th and 4, but really time for just one play. Hansen looking towards the end zone. Under pressure, throws it, and it's going to be batted down and incomplete. So the Padre defense bends, but they don't break, and they'll head into halftime with a 3-point lead.
And that is the end of the half. At halftime, your Monarchs
17-14 Serra. You're watching high school football on BayPreps.com.
Performance coming up. Then we'll get you a schedule and West Catholic scoreboard update. All the usual halftime activities here at Foothill College. Don't go anywhere. All right, ladies and gentlemen, time for our halftime activities. And up first, focus your attention out to the center of the field. Your favorites, the Archbishop Mitty. The Archbishop Mitty.
Pat O'Rourke with you here on BayPreps.com. We are at the half. Serra leading Mitty, as you can see, by the score of 17-14. Mitty started off with the football, but an interception for the Padres gave Serra the football at it was Malachi Green on the interception. It gave Serra the football at their own 45-yard line. They marched 11 plays, 55 yards, took 4 minutes and 39 seconds, capped off by the 3-yard touchdown run by Eric Redwood. The extra point by Toms, and Serra led 7-0 with 5:50 to go in the opening quarter. Mitty would answer with an 8-play, 66-yard drive that took 3 minutes and 51 seconds, capped off by Wyatt Hansen's 2-yard touchdown run that would even the score at 7 with 1:50 to go. On the ensuing kickoff, Angelo Arco would return the kick for the touchdown with 1:36 to go to make it 14-7 Serra, still in that opening quarter. A little bit later on, midway through the second quarter, the Padres would drive and ultimately kick a field goal from 22 yards out from Anthony Toms to make it 17-7 with 6:04 to go in the first half. Mitty then would get a big play from Daniel Moscow, a 75-yard touchdown run. Took one play, 75 yards, and they would get within 3 at 17-14 with 5:50 to go in the first half. The Monarchs, after forcing a 3-and-out from Serra, would have one more opportunity. They would start at their own 37 and drive as far as the Serra 7-yard line. But ultimately on a 4th and 4 from the 8, the pass into the end zone, desperation pass, would fall incomplete in the final play of the first half, and that's where we stand right now, 17-14 in favor of the Padres. The Monarchs do have more yards, 203 total yards in the first half for Mitty, 114 for Serra. Mitty's got 114 through the air, 89 on the ground. Serra has 108 rushing yards and 6 passing yards. Individually for the Padres, Eric Redwood, 9 carries, 84 yards. Hamilton Anoa'i has 2 carries for 10 yards. McGee, 1 carry, 4 yards. Arco, 1 carry, 2 yards. Fa'ita, 1 carry, 3 yards. And Malapai has 2 carries for 13 yards. Kazakov is 1 of 3 through the air for 6 yards. He also has 4 rushes for -8 yards. His 1 completion for 6 yards went to Anoa'i. As for Mitty, Moscow's got the 3 carries for 77 yards, including that 75-yard touchdown run. Evans has 3 carries, 23 yards. O'Leary, 2 carries, 1 yard. 1 carry, no yards for Monroe, and 9 rushes for -12 yards for Hansen, who has been hurt by a few bad snaps and a pitch on a broken running play. Hansen has thrown the ball very well. He did have that interception, but after that interception, he completed 6 straight passes. He ends up 8 of 11 in the first half for 114 yards and that interception. Kyle Evans, 3 catches for 72 yards. Moscow, 2 catches, 13 yards. Scott, 1 catch for 18 yards. Monroe, 1 catch for 13 yards. And O'Leary, 1 catch for -2 yards. And that is the first half statistics in this one. Again, Mitty outgaining Serra, but Serra leading the scoreboard, and the Padres will have the ball first to start the second half. I'd like to thank Michael Maury, your home loan purchase and loan finance expert at 925-967-3055. Let Michael Maury at CNA Equity be your bridge to your most profitable equity partners. And Rocco's Ristorante Pizzeria, the place to go after the game. Open late, full bar, longtime supporter of high school sports in the corner of Oak Grove and Ignacio in Walnut Creek. That's Rocco's Ristorante Pizzeria. It is 17-14 in favor of the Serra Padres. Still some time until we get to the second half. You're watching high school football action on BayPreps.com.
Click on your schedule app and we'll catch you up on what you need to put in. Hi, most importantly, put in next Friday, 7 o'clock. Not here. Friday Night Lights on campus, Father Jack Russell Stadium. Next Friday night against Bellarmine. 7 o'clock, varsity kickoff. Be there at home. Father Jack Russell Stadium next Friday night, 7 o'clock. Homecoming. Friday Night Lights on campus against Bellarmine, 7 o'clock. Be there. Looking ahead, October 13th, a Saturday, at Reardon, up in the city, 1 o'clock. And 2 weeks from tonight, rather 3 weeks from tonight, Friday, October 19th, back here at Foothill, your Monarchs, home away from home. 3 weeks from tonight, against Valley Christian, 7 o'clock. Be here 3 weeks from tonight, Friday, October 19th, 7 o'clock, against the Wolves. As this game is being broadcast live on BigPreps.com. And they want you to know you can check out the archive version tomorrow. Full version again tomorrow on BigPreps.com.
Both teams have come out for the second half. Mitty, more yards in the first half, 203 to 114, but a big 82-yard kickoff return for Angelo Arco for Serra. And you can say that's the difference. Of course, Mitty had a big play of their own, a 75-yard touchdown run by Moscow. So the Monarchs hoping to clean up some of the mistakes they had in the first half on offense. They had a few breakdowns or broken plays. And they try to get those corrected. As far as some other scores from around, and we're updating those scores on our website. Bellarmine was leading Reardon 21-3. Monte Vista on top of Granada 20-14 at the half. Big score here in the South Bay. Milpitas leading Palo Alto 14-0. Palo Alto in danger of their second loss. Deer Valley was up 21-14 on Vacaville. That's of interest. The Vacaville team that beat Valley Christian, and Deer Valley is one of the more underrated teams, a team that has trouble sniffing some of the rankings around, but is definitely going to be worthy of a nice ranking if they can pull off that win. So Serra will get the ball first to start the second half. And the Padres and Monarchs, both 3-0 coming in this game. Both teams playing their WCAL opener. It's the first of 7 league games, but as we've said before, you do not want to be the team that's 0-1 in league play trying to win a league title. It's happened, and this is thanks to Pat the Stat, Pat Segerson from Archbishop Reardon, the guy that is the guy to go to if you need any type of WCAL information regarding history and so forth. And I asked him, and he had to do some digging for me, so I definitely appreciate it, about how many times has a team in the WCAL lost their first league game and come back to win the conference title. And he looked it up for me, and I really appreciate it. And he found that it's happened 3 times. And it did happen 4 years ago with Serra. In 2008, they tied for the league title after losing their first game. But it's very, very tough to do. So it places added importance in this game involving 2 teams that are 2 of the very best in the Bay Area. Mitty fans, students, with the "I believe we will win" chant. They have won this meeting 2 of the last 3 years, and the one they didn't, they tied. Serra hasn't won since 2008. That was a 33-14 win. Last time they played here 2 years ago was a 44-40 tie as Parker Toms kicked a 33-yard field goal with less than a second left. So who has the momentum to start this third quarter? We are underway, and it's going to be a little pooch kick. Serra will return from inside their 30-yard line. And they'll start from about the 37. Serra had 4 possessions in the first half. The Monarchs had 6. So that's because of the kick return for the touchdown.
For the Padres, 1st and 10 at their own 38-yard line.
Call it their 38. Eric Redwood, 9 carries, 84 yards and a touchdown in the first half for the Padres. Over 400 rushing yards in the season now for Redwood. And they'll keep it up the middle here.
Eric Redwood, the ball carrier. Tackled by 23.
Redwood gets 4. His 10th carry
Second down and 6
of the game.
Padre 42.
Second down and 6. How that double wing set. Kazakov running the option, and he will be stopped after a few yards. Nicely done to make the stop by Mitty's Chandler Ramirez, 6 foot, 200-pound junior. Ramirez, a guy that can run the ball, but we have him for no carries in this game. Kazakov got 3 there. Third down and 3 with inside 11 minutes to go. Big hole up the middle. There's a first down and more. Inside the Mitty 30-yard line. The 20, forget about it. Touchdown, Padres.
Touchdown, Padres. 55-yard touchdown run.
It goes as a 55-yard touchdown run for Angelo Arco, who has made the big plays in this game. The 82-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. And now a 55-yard touchdown run to put the Padres up 9. What a night for Arco. 5'9", 165-pound senior. Not a good snap, but they do get the hold down. And the kick is good.
And the kick is good.
Kenny McMillan did a great job getting that hold down. And Serra is back up to a 10-point lead. They led 17-7, and now they're up 24-14 with 10:37 to go in the third quarter. Arco's second touchdown of the game. Three plays. 62 yards. It took a minute and 9 seconds. We've seen both these teams respond at different points of this game. Mitty, after they were down 10 in the first half, nearly took a lead in the halftime. They got a touchdown to get within 3, and then they had one final play before the end of the first half from the 8-yard line. They could not get a touchdown on a pass, and so they stayed down 3 heading into halftime. And now let's see, down 10. With Wyatt Hansen, that Monarch offense, which did produce 203 yards, can move down the field. And it is another squib kick. It goes through one man, but Monroe picks it up, and that's when it's dangerous, when that guy picks it up after the first man initially couldn't pick it up. We saw Mitty get a big return like that against Palo Alto on an actual fumble. Monroe takes it out to the 36. Serra special teams have done very, very well containing the return game and getting a big return of their own. So Monarch football. Four receivers. Hansen. Short drop, throws near side. Pass is caught by Dakota Goulart. Goulart. And there's a late flag that comes down. And this might be a personal foul penalty against Mitty, I'm not sure. I saw a couple Padre players clapping. That was a 7-yard reception for Goulart. This was definitely going to be an unsportsmanlike or personal foul penalty, and it is against Mitty. That's the first penalty of the game against the Monarchs. In fact, that's only our third penalty of the night. The other two, obviously against Serra, since that's Mitty's first, but one of them was a personal foul penalty against the Padres. So they'll mark it off back to the 27-yard line.
marked off from the 42-yard line back to the 27. Second down and long.
That was a 6 different receiver Hansen has completed a pass to. But it is second down and long. Second and about 19. His pass over the middle here is caught by Moscow. And Hansen took a big shot, but he hung in there and completed his pass to Moscow. Matt Dickerson applying pressure for Serra. And a good job by Moscow to make the catch, knowing that that pass is going to be coming quickly with the pressure. And it goes for about 16 yards. 136 yards passing tonight for Hansen. And Hansen's got a lot of room as he runs the option to the far side of the field. Hansen is going to step out of bounds near the Padre bench.
Runs out of bounds at the Padre 40-yard line near the Monarch first down.
Hansen, such a threat with his legs. He's got a rushing touchdown tonight. He's got 2 on the season. And now he's in positive yardage. That was in negative yards because of some broken plays. But he gets 17 yards there. He now has 5 yards rushing on the evening. And more importantly, Archbishop Mitty is inside Serra territory at the 40-yard line on 1st and 10. Looking for the deep pass on the far side. The jump ball going up. They made the catch. Was he in bounds? Yes, he was. What a play. Excellent catch made by Andrew Scott. His second really nice catch of the night.
Hansen's pass is complete at the 15-yard line.
It's going to be a 25-yard reception for Scott. And Hansen continued to put up very good numbers throwing the ball. 11 of 14, 161 yards. 1st and 10. Hansen is going to run for it. I'm not sure that was a design run. Ball might have came loose at the end there, and I think Serra saying they have it. No signal from the official.
Hansen on the keeper.
And it is going to stay Mitty ball. Not sure if that ball came out after he hit the ground, but that's what the official is ruling.
4-yard gain to the 11-yard line. Second down and 6.
So it's 2nd and 6. Mitty trying to capitalize. 8:40 to go in the 3rd quarter. Great battle here in this West Catholic League opener. And they try to go up the middle here, and the Padre defense able to stuff it.
Sacked on the play by number 55, Brendan Hassau.
So it's 3rd down and 7.
1-yard loss on the sack. 3rd down and 7 at the 12-yard.
Remember, Mitty couldn't cash in at the end of the 1st half. Trying to take advantage of these opportunities inside the red zone. Empty backfield. Hansen's pass over the middle is dropped.
Hansen's pass incomplete intended for Wesson.
Jacob Wesson had opportunity for his first catch of the night there and a touchdown, and he couldn't hold on. And it wasn't perfectly in the breadbasket, but still a ball he should have caught, and he knew it. He put his hands on his head. He gets a tap on the helmet as he goes to the sideline. Normally a sure-handed player. 134 yards receiving coming into this game, and now Mitty's going to go for the field goal to try to get within 7. And the kick is no good.
And the kick is no good.
So it stays a 10-point game, and the Serra sideline very pumped up after that missed field goal. With 7:37 left. And that is a big emotional letdown for Mitty. They were moving the ball effectively. Got the big play to Scott, who made a nice catch down to the 15-yard line, and they just couldn't go far from there. So that's the last 2 times they've been in the red zone. They have come away with 0 points. Severs a missed field goal there as Padres, unsurprisingly, keep it on the ground.
Redwood the ball carrier. Tackled by Sutton.
So Serra takes over their own 20. Redwood gets a couple.
Second down and 8 at the
Redwood 10 yards shy of the century mark. He's got a touchdown tonight. Padres, a couple big plays from Angelo Arco. Kickoff return for a touchdown from 82 yards and a 55-yard touchdown run here in the second half. And a big gain for Redwood, who manages to stay on his feet. He keeps those legs moving. A late flag does come down.
Redwood the ball carrier. There is a flag.
It's going to be a 20-yard gain for Redwood. This flag came near the tail end of the play.
Gain if it stands.
And it is going to be personal foul on Serra. It's the second personal foul penalty on the Padres. And Coach Walsh can't be happy with that over on the Padres sideline. We've got a great run from your star back. It's going to be a 20-yard run, but a lot of it taken away because of that personal foul penalty.
15 yards back after the gain of 20.
Still goes as a gain of 20,
So this
but
will
it's
set up
second down
and 3
and 3.
at the 27.
Try to run over the left side of the line. They get very little, and a big third down coming up. Serra led 7-0. After a 7-7, they led 14-7 after the opening quarter and 17-14 at the half. Right now we've got 6:20 to go in the third quarter. Third down and 2. The drop football, a broken play for the Padres, and they get nothing, and Redwood taken down in the backfield. A little bit slow getting up. That's the last thing the Padres want to see. Redwood nowhere to go there, didn't have a chance as there was some, I'm not sure if it was on the snap or before the exchange.
A 3-yard loss on the play.
But it brings up fourth down.
Fourth down and
Well, that
5
personal
at
foul
Serra
penalty
25.
really hurt that sequence for Serra. They were going to have a 20-yard gain by Redwood and a first down at about the 42. Now they punt. So here's Mitty. A chance to get within 3. They let the punt drop and go out of bounds at the 37. The Monarchs have had more yards tonight, but a couple failed opportunities inside the red zone.
Monarchs take over first and 10, their own 37, 5:25 in the third.
And Serra playing better in the special teams game.
A West Catholic scoreboard check from our friends from Mercury News. Check them out at mercurynews.com and on Twitter at @WorkPreps. At halftime, up in the city, it's Bellarmine College Prep 22, Archbishop Burnett 3.
First down and 10. Hansen looking for that quick pass in the flat. He's got nowhere to throw it, and he gets brought down. A number of white shirts, including Matt Dickerson, getting in the backfield. Peter Tui Pelotu also into the vicinity.
Hansen sacked on the play. Sacked by Tui Pelotu and 79 Ryan Rooney.
Loss of 7. Mitty's hurt themselves with those plays that have gone for big losses. It's been a couple of snaps, a pitch, a few sacks. Big hole up the middle here. And they get those yards back and more as Robert O'Leary gets the carry.
Tackled by Hamilton Anoa'i.
And O'Leary gets 12. So 3rd down and 5, 4:20 to go in the third.
12-yard run to the 43.
.409
Down and a long time.
on the third quarter clock. Running the option, Hansen doesn't have anywhere to go. He's taken down for a loss. Fia Malapei.
Tackled by Malapei.
And the Serra defense steps up again.
Lost a couple. 4th down and 7.
Coach Walsh was very optimistic about his defense coming into this season. He's even gone as far as to say that this is going to be a unit that's going to have to carry us a little bit, or shut down the opposition. They've done very well tonight against a really good Mitty offense. The punt angled towards out of bounds, and it will go out of bounds inside the Serra 30. So again, it's the onus is on the Mitty defense that has played very well.
Padres take over with 3:12 in the third. 1st and 10 at their own.
Should say very well, but pretty well. I mean, you factor in that one of the Serra touchdowns was a kickoff return for a score. And they're doing what they can to keep their team in the game. So it's 1st and 10 from the 28. The Padres go right up the box and get those tough yards, about 4.
Kevin McGee, the ball carrier.
As McGee gets his second carry. Had 70 rushing yards in the season coming into this game.
4 yards. 2nd down and 6.
Serra definitely winning the time of possession in this game. Redwood goes in motion. He gets the handoff running that far side. Tries to follow his blockers. And comes up a couple of yards shy of the first.
Redwood, the ball carrier, tackled by Sutton.
.112 rushing yards on the night for Eric Redwood. On 15 carries, he has one of the 3 Serra touchdowns. 3rd down and 2. 2 minutes to go in the third. They don't go to Redwood. But because of that threat, I think that's what helped get him the first down as they keep it on the ground up the middle. And a good gain for Malapei. A 1st down gain. Malapei, 3 carries, 17 yards. Serra with another 3rd down conversion. 1:42 to go in the third. Try to keep it up the box again, but this time the Mitty defense able to come up with the stop.
Redwood, the ball carrier.
Daniel Mendoza, 6'1", 240-pound junior lineman, brings down Redwood for a loss. But Serra doing what they want to do. They're eating up some clock. They're trying to take a 10-point lead into the fourth quarter.
2nd down and 11 after Padre 39.
This double wing will eat you up. They try to get the 3 or 4 yards at a time and then occasionally pop that big one when you're not playing assignment football. As Kozakov is rushed trying to throw, and his pass is a little bit underthrown. Mitty comes up with an interception. we were blocked by the Mitty sideline. Then they surround the interceptor there, and that was Kyle Evans. What a great play. Evans making a play on the ball, and Serra with their first turnover of the night. With 43 seconds to go in the third quarter, is that the momentum shift the Monarchs were looking for? Their best field position tonight, the first time they start inside Serra territory. So each team has an interception now. 43 seconds to go in the third. Hansen has to step up. Stays on his feet down the near sideline. And he gets enough for the first down. Hansen making something happen as the pocket collapsed around him.
12-yard run and a Monarch first down.
So 33 seconds to go. Mitty now at the Serra 32. Mitty missed a field goal earlier this third quarter from about 22 yards out. They have failed to score their last two trips into the red zone. Empty set, Hansen wanting to throw near side, caught by Moscow, who's had a really nice night. Actually, I should say Moscow. That was actually Dakota Gallart, his second catch.
Tackled out of bounds at the 26-yard line.
27 seconds
Gain of 6.
to go in the third quarter. Hansen now 167 yards passing. Second down and 4. A little bit of a high snap. An incomplete pass. He was looking for Andrew Scott. And again, Serra bringing some pressure. They have done a good job of getting pressure on Hansen. And this brings up third down. 22 seconds left in the third quarter. Great matchup, WCAL opener. One that very well could decide the conference title. Who knows? Bellarmine's off to a good start against Reardon. They're at the half in that game. I believe it was, I heard 22-3. Got a couple of WCAL openers playing tomorrow, including a good one at SI and Valley Christian. As a big hole is up the middle, inside the 10, the 5, forced out of bounds. Well shy of the goal line, but a Mitty first down. Chandler Ramirez on the big carry.
Tackled at the 5-yard line, 21-yard gain.
21 yards for Ramirez. It is first down and goal with 14 seconds left in the quarter. Mitty's got to cash in here. A lot of time left in this game, but you don't want to have 3 straight empty trips inside the red zone. Keep it up the box. Touchdown. Chandler Ramirez. With 9 seconds to go in the quarter. The extra point try.
And the kick is good.
And it makes it 24-21. 5-yard run for Chandler Ramirez. And just like that, the Monarchs come up the interception. They quickly capitalize. Six plays, 44 yards, and it took Just 34 seconds. So we got a new ball game. And still waiting for the end of this third quarter. Seen a lot of plays here in the final minute of the quarter. Ensuing return for Serra. Jordan Hagi takes it up to the 30-yard line. So the Padre offense has stalled a bit. They did have that 55-yard touchdown run by Arco early in the third quarter, but not getting the chunks of yards to keep drives going. 1 second left in the third quarter. This, barring a penalty, will be the final play of the quarter. Mitty defense looking for another stop. The pitch goes to the far side of Anoa'i. And Anoa'i gets about 6. His third carry of the night. So that is the conclusion of the third quarter. Great game at Los Altos Hills at Foothill College. It is 24-21 as we head to the fourth. This is high school football action on BayPreps.com.
And there's our signal at the end of 3. It is your Monarchs 21, the Serra Padres 24.
Second down and 4 for Serra to start the fourth quarter. And this is Redwood breaking in the clear. See you later, Eric Redwood. The first play of the fourth quarter. 64 yards. His second touchdown tonight. And the Padres continue to come up with the big plays. Redwood not afraid to run between the tackles, and sometimes he will just bust loose. It's a Padre team that likes those time-consuming drives out of that double-wing offense, but they've had some big plays tonight, particularly in this second half. The extra point try by Toms to make it a 10-point game, and it's no good. He hit the upright. We'll see if that plays a role later.
11:48 to go in the game. Score now, Serra 30, your Monarchs 20.
Eric Redwood, 64-yard touchdown run.
This game is being covered by multiple outlets, including Cali Sports Bay Area. You can see highlights on Cali Sports Bay Area on Coffee TV 20, Sunday night at 6 and 11 p.m.
2 plays, 70 yards for Serra. It took 13 seconds. So Eric Redwood, he's got a 64-yard touchdown run. We saw Angelo Arco, a 55-yard touchdown run at the start of the second half. And Arco also has an 82-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. 3 big plays for the Padres. Mitty's had some big plays of their own, a 75-yard touchdown run by Daniel Moscow. Jumps out. That's their biggest touchdown scoring play. They've had about 4 other plays that have gone for 20 yards or more. So the Monarchs down 9, down 2 scores again. They have responded well before down a couple scores. Still a lot of time to go, with 11:46 to go, and they have trouble again with the Serra squib kick.
Drew Mount falls on the kickoff at the Archbishop Mitty 25-yard line. First and 10 Monarchs with 11:46 in the fourth quarter. Both teams have all timeouts remaining.
First down and 10, Mitty from their own 24. Pass nearly intercepted. Dangerous pass the far side of the field.
Second and 10.
That was nearly picked off. Hansen had been throwing the ball very well, but he's now missed with 4 of his last 5 passes. He's 12 of 19 for 167 yards. Hansen pump fakes, then throws deep, but not on the same page was his target, Andrew Scott. Scott kind of turned towards the inside instead of going down the sideline. And 2 straight incompletions make it third down. A lot of time to go, but you don't want to give the ball back to Serra, down 9 in the fourth quarter. So a big third down. A little bit of a high snap. Hansen throws far side. Pass caught by Wesson. He's got some room to run. Wesson takes a hit, but he's got a first down up to the 36. First catch of the night for Wesson, who earlier this first half could not catch what looked like would have been a touchdown. Mitty ended up getting no points out of it. Wesson normally a sure-handed player, very good player on both sides of the ball for the Monarchs. First down and 10 as he makes the play there. A little bit of a delayed draw. And they'll get about 4 to O'Leary. O'Leary, 6 foot, 208 pounds senior. Starter on defense, rotates in on offense.
Second and 5.
He's got 18 yards on 4 carries tonight. Serra missing an extra point on that last touchdown, so they're up 9. Hansen looking for the deep ball, and nearly pass interference. Mitty wanting a penalty, not called, as he was looking for Dakota Gillart. Coverage there by Kavamaka.
Third down and 5 at the Archbishop Mitty 41.
I think Mitty fans wanting that penalty is because there was some contact, but also that Maka wasn't looking back for the ball, which a lot of times will lead to that penalty call from the official. 10:31 to go. Third down and 5. And the ball is loose as he was looking to pitch it. A free-for-all as it pops free from a pile, and it looks like Mitty might have fallen on top of it. It's going to be a huge, huge loss. They're going to have to punt anyway. And they're lucky Serra did not pounce on that ball. They had about more white shirts than black shirts going after the ball, and a big pile all fell on top of it. one or two Mitty players and about 4 or 5 Serra players, and it scored it out again. And Mitty ended up falling back on it. But a huge loss on the play. It goes all the way back to the 15-yard line. And that's going to be a loss of 27 yards. And Mitty's hurt themselves with those plays tonight. It looked like that was maybe an errant pitch, although it was kind of a broken play. We saw an errant pitch earlier that resulted in a big loss. And this is a good punt for the Monarchs. It gets touchdown inside the Serra 38. But you just can't keep shooting yourselves in the foot.
First and 10, 9:27 to go.
With those type of broken plays. I mean, they're drive killers for one. But they're that much more magnified when they happen against good teams. So 9:27 to go. Mitty's down 9 and Serra's got the ball. And Serra gets good yardage on first down. And that was Arco. Or actually Malapei on the carry.
7-yard gain to the 45-yard line. Second and 3.
I thought that was Arco, but they're calling it Malapei. Third down and 3. Serra wants to run down the play clock. 8:46 to go. A flag comes down. And that's going to be a killer for Serra if it's a penalty against the Padres. I saw Patrick Walsh take off his headset in the far sideline. That's just the last thing he wants to see. He wants his team to keep the ball, and they had a second and short. And they're going to get an illegal block on this play, and that could be a drive killer for the Padres. Fourth penalty of the night against Serra. And that's going to push them all the way back to the 29-yard line. And when you run that double wing offense, it makes it that much tougher to get a first down. It's second and 19.
Second and 19.
Serra, though, has had some big plays. And the Mitty defense able to hold there, bringing up third down.
Malapei, the ball carrier.
Gets a yard, does Malapei. He's got 25 yards rushing now on 5 carries. We're inside 8 minutes to go. An illegal block, big penalty against the Padres, because it's 3rd and 18. Keep it on the ground up the middle. They do get back to the original line of scrimmage, but well shy of the first down with Redwood. He gets about 9. Redwood tonight, 184 yards and 2 touchdowns on 18 carries. But the Padres have to punt. They will be able to take this clock inside 7 minutes. Serra looking for their first win over Mitty since 2008. They tied the last time they played here. Mitty won last year in San Mateo on a rare Friday night game in Serra, 35-28. Padres try to use up as much clock before the snap. Here's Toms, very good punter and kicker. And it's returned by Dakari Monroe. Monroe spreads it out to the left. And the Padres do a good job containing him once again. Serra's special teams has answered every challenge this evening. And we have an injured Padre player on the field. The first guy down there on that return.
46-yard kick.
Next week, we'll be in Concord at De La Salle. We'll have the Foothill De La Salle game next Friday night. The Falcons playing California tonight, and California was up big in the first half of that contest. Of course, on BayPreps.com, we don't just do video broadcasts. We do a number of interviews with coaches and write-ups and previews and recaps of all the games. Cover 86 schools in the Bay Area at BayPreps.com.
Number 11, Hamilton Anoa'i being assistant.
Hamilton Anoa'i, that would be a big loss to the Padres. Hopefully it's nothing serious. Anoa'i playing a nice game. And he gets helped off the field. It's not a good sight. Talk about a guy that makes an impact on this Padres team on both sides of the ball. Palo Alto still trailing Milpitas 24-6. They're in the third quarter. Serra Valley leads Amador Valley 22-15 in the fourth quarter. Monte Vista leads Granada 41-14. Deer Valley leads Vacaville 35-28 in the fourth quarter. Reardon hanging tough with Bellarmine 21-10 in the fourth quarter. The Crusaders definitely going to get some respect by hanging with the Bells there. A lot of people were expecting a blowout victory, even though Reardon went into that game with a 3-0 record. Hadn't played quite the non-league schedule that the Bells and other teams in the WCAL have played, but and they're still, I mean, they have a chance to win that game. I mean, it was down only 11 in the fourth quarter. But even if they don't, like I said, you get the respect of your peers. That Reardon team that has lost 12 league games in a row coming into this season. 2-yard gain there for Evans on first down. It's 2nd and 8. And they get a few more yards. We're inside 6 minutes to go. Mitty is going to need some big plays.
A 3-yard gain out to the 42-yard line. 3rd down and 5.
5:35 to go. It's 3rd and 5. Serra brings some pressure. The pass going to be caught for a first down. That will temporarily stop the clock as they move the chains. As the reception was made.
Hanson's pass complete to
Jordan
Jordan Gojanola.
Gojanola on the reception.
42-yard line, 1st and 10.
It was about a 10-yard reception. 1st and 10. Hanson looking deep down the far sideline. It's incomplete. And Gojanola, who just made the catch, was the intended target there, and he was thinking he was interfered with.
2nd and 10. At the Monarch 42.
5:12 remaining. Pat O'Rourke with you here on BayPreps.com. Both teams 3-0 heading into this WCAL opener. These teams in just about every ranking you can look at. In the NorCal Bowl rankings, both in the top 10. And in Division I, as there's an incomplete pass, a flag does come down.
Hanson's pass is incomplete. There are flags on it.
And it's in the area where that ball fell incomplete. Make me think it's going to be a penalty against the Serra defense. And it is pass interference against the Padres. That's the fourth 15-yard penalty against Serra tonight. 5:08 to go. Mitty not out of this game.
15-yard penalty gives the Monarchs a first down at the Serra 40.
They're now inside Serra territory at the Padre 43. Monarchs have quick strike ability. Serra's had the big plays tonight. Three receivers down here at the bottom of your screen. Hansen, incomplete. And he took a big shot as he delivered that ball. There's a penalty behind the play. Daniel Lavulo from his defensive end spot did a nice job applying pressure, and this penalty looks like it's going against Mitty. You can hear the Serra coaches clapping next door. And it's going to be a holding penalty, the second penalty of the night against the Monarchs.
Yards from the spot of the foul, which was the Serra 48-yard line, so back to the Archbishop 42.
So it's still first down, but first down and a long way to go. First and 24. That's marked off from the spot of the foul. And this is Evans. Ball came loose, actually not Evans, but Chandler Ramirez. The ball came loose at the end of that run.
Back to the 46-yard line.
4:43 to go.
4-yard gain, second and 20.
This possession has taken over 2 minutes for the Monarchs, and they've gone just 19 yards. Serra defense doing a bend but don't break performance tonight. And they're perfectly happy giving up some yards in front of them right now at this 9-point lead. Hansen's rush from behind. Dickerson trying to chase him down. He missed him. Hansen turns it around the other way. Stays on his feet. Misses a couple more tackles are the Padres, and Hansen ends up getting positive yardage out of it on Serra's half of midfield.
Stepped out of bounds at the Serra 48-yard line.
Ends up getting about 6. Hansen has ended up tonight with 17 rushes. When you talk about the lost yardage plays, he has had some positive yardage runs. Right now I have him 17 carries, negative 12 yards. Of course, there was a couple plays where he lost a ton of yards because of a pitch that went to a guy that wasn't there, or a fumble. We're inside 4 minutes to go. It is 3rd and 15. The pitch to Ramirez. Ramirez turns it upfield. He was stumbling, and he doesn't get the first down. He comes up about 5 or 6 yards shy. He gets 9, so it's going to be 4th and 6. Ramirez 39 yards rushing on 4 carries. And it comes down to this play right now with 3:32 to go. The clock continuing to run. If the Monarchs had scored quickly, they might not have needed to do an onside kick, but at this point, if they score, likely going to have to use that onside kick. That's if they score. They got to get a first down here. It's 4th and 6. Hansen turns it upfield. He's got the first down. He's tripped up inside the 30. He gets 13. And Mitty stays alive with 3:10 to go. They'll move the chains, and then they will restart this clock. They haven't restarted the clock yet.
1st and 10.
Now they do. 1st and 10 from the Serra 26. Short drop over the middle, incomplete, looking for Wesson, a little bit behind him. Wesson, though, couldn't come up with it. And it's second down. Bellarmine, by the way, a 28-10 lead now over Reardon with 2:40 to go, as that looks to be the final nail in the coffin there. But Reardon going on the road, competitive tonight. Here's a throw by Hansen into the end zone. It's underthrown, and it's going to be intercepted. Picked off by Anoa'i. He left the game moments ago. Actually, Kavamaka, I should say. Maka with the interception. The second pick thrown of the night by Hansen. So Kavamaka made a nice play of the ball, 6 foot, 165-pound junior, and that might seal this game with 2:55 left. Some of the Mitty fans are leaving. Not very many, but just a few. Mitty does have some timeouts remaining. WCAL opener, though, looks to be going the way of the Padres. They keep it on the ground. And Eric Redwood, who has had another terrific night, gets good yardage. Mitty uses up a timeout. So how about Eric Redwood? Coming off a 172-yard, 4-touchdown effort against Buhack Colony, including the winning 2-point conversion after the touchdown brought his team within a point with 14 seconds left in that game. He follows that up 8 days later. He's got 19 carries, 189 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And the big one in this game was the 64-yard touchdown run with 11:48 to go in the game, the first play of the fourth quarter. It made it 30-21 after the extra point missed off the upright, and we have stayed that way since, right now with 2:45 to go. So the Padres on their way to going to 4-0, and more importantly 1-0 in the West Catholic League. A team that plays Reardon next week. And they get the first down here.
Seven-yard gain and a Serra first down.
To be Angelo Arco with the carry there. And the Padres get the first down. The clock will restart with 2:33 to go. Serra, so they've got a good chance to go to 2-0 next week. But like we said, Reardon much better than what they were last year and the previous several years. This is not a team that you can automatically pencil in a W, but can't say Serra would be a favorite, big favorite in that game, as Redwood gets another carry. And Redwood, who continues to do a good job of following his blockers and patiently waiting for holes to develop, gets 6 yards and a timeout called by Mitty. After the Reardon game, Serra is home against Bellarmine. We'll have that game for you here on BayPreps.com. And then at Sacred Heart Cathedral. Those are the next 3 games for Serra. As for Mitty,
5-yard gain on the last play. When play resumes, it'll be second down.
The Monarchs will be home against Bellarmine next week. So that's a big game for Mitty. You don't want to lose 2 in a row, and you're going up against a team that won the conference title last year. It was the first undefeated WCAL schedule without any ties for a team since 2005. Of course, Bellarmine lost a lot of talent from that team, but still very good this year. And that's going to be a barn burner next week. And then you've got Mitty's at Reardon and then home against Valley Christian, who plays SI tomorrow, in what should be a very good game in San Jose. If you're Mitty, though, you can't get 2 down, and you know this is a very good team. I mean, you don't get wins over those 3 playoff teams from a year ago, those 3 very good teams, Los Gatos, Leland, and Palo Alto, without being a really good team. As Serra keeps it on the ground again, this is going to take us to 2 minutes and 1 second as there's a time out on the field. Anoa'i got 3 there.
Picked up about 4. Timeout Monarchs. This is the Monarchs'
But
final timeout of regulation.
like we said, it has happened relatively recently. 4 years ago, Serra lost their first league game in 2008, and they ended up tying for the league title that year. But it's only happened 3 times where you lose that first league game and end up winning the WCAL. And Mitty certainly has a talented enough team to try to do that. We can say that it's very unlikely a team goes through the WCAL undefeated. It just doesn't happen very often. It happened with Bellarmine last year, but that was the first time it happened in 6 years. Valley Christian, the last team to do it, back in 2005. And this league, loaded year in and year out, appears to be just as strong this year as it has been in years past. And when you talk about the teams like these two, plus Bellarmine and SI and Valley Christian and St. Francis, and the Reardon's much improved. Sacred Heart Cathedral, as Eric Redwood gets another carry, and he gets 4 more yards to his total. Looks like he's about a yard shy of 200. He might have 200 on somebody else's stat sheet. But Sacred Heart Cathedral, maybe not quite as good as last year, but they've been, they're a lot better than maybe what people think. But you look up and down this league, some very tough teams, and it's going to be very tough for someone to go undefeated through that schedule. Redwood, 21 carries, 199 yards, 137 to go. Serra in control of this game. They have led most of the way. Keep it on the ground with McGee.
Kevin McGee, the ball carrier.
McGee gets about 7.
7-yard gain. Second down and 3 after the Archbishop winning 48.
1:13 to go. Eric Redwood, the wing back on the right side. But they'll keep it up the middle. Serra offensive line. Another outstanding job tonight. Anoa'i helmet comes off as he gets another carry, his 7th of the night.
Picks up a Padre first down to the Monarch 42.
He gets about 7. So 43 seconds to go, and Padres look like they'll have time for maybe one more play. But a big win for Serra, their first win over Mitty since 2008. More importantly, they're 4-0 and 1-0 in league play. A team that was ranked 4th in the Bay Area in our rankings. A team that's ranked like Mitty in just about any ranking you look at. They're going to get a big boost in those Division I North Bowl rankings from Cal High Sports. And this will be the final play of the game, and Serra's just going to kneel on it here. And that will do it. The Serra Padres defeat the Archbishop Mitty Monarchs by the final score of 30-21. They led 7-0 early on, 14-7 after the first quarter, 17-14 at the half. It was 24-21 to start the fourth quarter, but Eric Redwood, 64-yard touchdown run in the first play of the fourth quarter, and that would be the final score of the night as it ends up 30-21. We'll take a break on the audio side, bring it back for some stats. You're watching high school football on BayPreps.com.
If you missed our schedule update earlier, we'll give you the full vote here in just a minute. So have your schedule out on your phone ready to go.
Pat O'Rourke with you for some stats. We'll see if we can get an interview with a player in this one. And let's run down the stats first, though. First for the winning team, the Serra Padres, Eric Redwood, 21 carries, 199 yards, and 2 touchdowns tonight. Hamilton Anoa'i, 3 carries, 16 yards. He left the game with injury. We hope he's okay. Also, Kevin McGee had 3 carries, 15 yards. Angelo Arco, 3 carries, 64 yards. He had a big 55-yard touchdown run early in the third quarter. Malapei, 7 carries, 35 yards. Fa'ita had 1 carry, 3 yards. Kazakov, passing was 1 of 4 with an interception and 6 yards. On the ground, he had 5 rushes for -5 yards. His 1 pass was complete to Hamilton Anoa'i, 1 catch for 6 yards. Serra had 5 penalties for 65 yards. They had the 1 turnover. Mitty had 2 turnovers, a couple interceptions for the Padres. On the ground, Mitty ended up with 342 total yards. They outgained Serra on the night, 342 to 303. Chandler Ramirez had 4 carries for 39 yards and a touchdown. Kyle Evans, 5 carries, 28 yards. Dakari Monroe, 1 carry, no yards. Moscow, 3 carries, 77 yards. O'Leary, 4 carries, 18 yards. Passing, Wyatt Hansen was 15 of 26 for 177 yards and 2 interceptions. He had 18 rushes tonight unofficially for 1 yard. Monroe, 1 catch, 13 yards. Wesson, 1 catch, 12 yards. Evans, 3 catches, 72 yards. Moscow, 3 catches, 29 yards. Scott, 2 catches, 43 yards. O'Leary, 1 catch, -2 yards. Galarte, 2 catches, 12 yards. Mitty had 2 penalties for 25 yards. Total yards, Mitty 342, 163 on the ground, 179 passing. Serra had 297 yards rushing tonight and 6 yards passing for a total of 303 yards. Padres led this game 7-0 on a 3-yard touchdown run by Eric Redwood with 5:50 to go in the opening quarter, capped an 11-play, 55-yard drive. Wyatt Hansen answered with a 2-yard plunge with 1:50 to go in the first quarter, make it 7-7. That was an 8-play, 66-yard drive that took 3:51. Serra on the ensuing kickoff returned for 82 yards by Angelo Arco to make it 14-7 Padres with 1:36 to go in the first quarter. In the second quarter, Anthony Toms kicked a 22-yard field goal to make it 17-7. Daniel Moscow shortly thereafter answered with a 75-yard touchdown run to make it 17-14. But Angelo Arco early in the third quarter, it was 17-14 at the half. Remember, Mitty at the end of the first half had an opportunity, 4th and 4 from the 8-yard line, but they could not get the pass into the end zone to be complete. And it was 17-14 at the break, and then early in the third quarter, Arco, 55-yard touchdown run to make it 24-14 Padres. A 3-play, 62-yard drive that took 1:09. Chandler Ramirez did answer with a touchdown run from 5 yards out, capping a 6-play, 44-yard drive. It made it 24-21 with 9 seconds left in the third quarter. So Mitty was right back in this game. But Eric Redwood, at the first play of the fourth quarter, ran in a touchdown from 64 yards out in the first play of the fourth quarter to make it 30-21. The extra point would miss off the upright, and it was a 9-point Padre lead at that point with a lot of time left, but the Padre defense held strong, and they did not allow Mitty to get any points. Mitty did have a last possession. They did get some yards, but it took a lot of times. The Padres kept everything in front of them. And so it ended up 30-21, the final score tonight. The Padres are now 4-0. They are 1-0 in West Catholic League play. Mitty drops to 3-1, and they're 0-1 in the WCAL. Thanks to everyone here at Foothill College, and of course that's the representatives from Archbishop Mitty, as this is their home game, for making us feel so welcome. JT Hanley, Monica Marcuson, Will Scherenberg, as we were able to broadcast this game. We appreciate that. This was the best game in the Bay Area, the best game in Northern California, and we appreciate the opportunity to do this game, and we're looking forward to do another game down the road. And looks like we are going to get an interview here. As we bring down the microphone, he's going to have to take Jerry's headphones so he can listen to me as I ask some questions here. We're going to be interviewing Angelo Arco, who had a great game tonight. And we're going to have to makeshift operation here to try to get this interview. And these headphones, of course, do not stretch very far. So, Angelo, thanks for joining us here. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get much of the camera on you right now, but congratulations on the win tonight. You had the big touchdown run in the early third quarter. You had the big kickoff return. Talk about the kickoff return. What did you see on that play?
The wedge totally formed in front of me. I made a cut right, and the blocking was just phenomenal. I just cut up the sideline the whole way.
Yeah, it seemed like you made that cut towards the inside just to free yourself up, maybe with some extra time to set that wedge up even more, and then broke it back towards the sideline.
Yeah, that's exactly how we design it, and it works perfectly. And that's our game plan. We'll always do that.
Well, great game tonight. You had that big touchdown run early in the third quarter. What did you see on that play?
That was another design play, perfect for me to cut up the middle. We knew it was going to be good. We heard the defense saying, toss left, toss left, and we knew that was going to open right up the middle, cut off the safety, and I was off to the races.
We're joined by Angelo Arco here in the postgame show after Serra's 30-21 win over Mitty. What was Coach telling you this week in preparation for this game? I'm sure you guys knew plenty of times this is going to be a tough game, but what were some of the keys that you guys had to execute to win this game?
Yeah, we definitely knew Mitty was a huge competition, definitely one of the best in the WCAL. And we knew we had to bring it tonight. We had to be on our game to execute in order to win this game.
What about yourself? I mean, in terms of, this is a top-notch program you're a part of. Is it in terms of you have to, bide your time, keep working hard, and take advantage of those opportunities when they come?
Definitely. It's work all week long. Classrooms first, but as soon as the bell rings, we got to focus on football, study our plays, work hard at practice, and it's just time to show it at the game.
All right. Well, what are some of the things that you look at your team that you guys need to improve on going forward? Because I know even though you're 4-0, I'm sure Coach is going to stress some things you guys need to improve on.
Oh, we're definitely far from perfect. We got a lot of things to work on. I think our defense definitely stepped it up tonight, and our offense is starting to execute really well because I think early in the season, many people underestimated our offense, and we're starting to do really well now, so it's really good.
All right, Angelo, appreciate you giving us some time here. Congratulations on the win tonight.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Angelo Arco, for joining us. Thanks to JT Hanley for going and setting that up, and congratulations on the win. And thanks to Dean Ayub as well, for bringing Angelo up here for the interview. We apologize, couldn't get the camera on him with our setup. He was outside the press box, and our camera was right near, and there's only so far those headphones would stretch, but appreciate him joining us here on the post-game show. Great job by him and the Padres tonight as they win 30-21 at Foothill College against Mitty. Thanks to everyone. Told you thanks to JT and Monica Marcuson and Will Scherenberg here at Mitty. Thanks to sound engineer, producer, and cameraman Jerry Gerard. I'm Pat O'Rourke. Signing off, 30-21. Serra improves to 4-0 and 1-0 in the WCAL. You've been watching high school football action on BayPreps.com.